So, a couple days ago, I was at a flea market. It was Sunday, and I had nothing to do that day, so I thought that should go over there after seeing that it was while I was driving and see if there was anything I would be interested in. I went over to the DVD section, and there was a bunch of them of various shows. Looking through, something caught my eye. It was a blank DVD case with the words SBSP. S1 EP E17 Rough Draft. I knew the initials, what SBSP meant SpongeBob SquarePants, and episode 17 of the first season was Rock Bottom. But what interested me was the words Rough Draft. Was one of the some sort of early unreleased version of this episode? I thought alone that would make me want to buy it immediately. I went up to the cash register and asked the guy working there on how much it was. He lifted his head from the magazine and then looked at the item in my hands. "That'll be $5, he said. I put my money on the counter and walked out of the store and back to my car. After I got home, I went upstairs to my room. I opened up the case and put the DVD in my laptop. Windows Media Player opened up and the video began. It began by showing a white screen with a black text reading, "This is the rough draft of the SpongeBob SquarePants episode, Rock Bottom. All footage in this video belongs to Nickelodeon Studios. Do not in any circumstances distribute this video." The screen faded to black and then it faded back in, showing the title card. After this, it began normally with the SpongeBob and Patrick waiting for the bus after a fun day at Glove World. One difference I know from the final version was that there was no background music or sounds, just SpongeBob's voice. They get on the bus, and the usual shenanigans happen like normal, with SpongeBob trying to get his wallet and unknowingly hits the bus with the glove balloon. I chuckled at this scene. After the bus takes them to Rock Bottom, it was a lot creepier in the final version. It was in a lot grimmer, with the monsters being more deformed and groaning, sounding as if they were in pain. SpongeBob misses the bus that Patrick gets on and begins to chase but fails. The disturbing part about this is that Patrick was laughing very cruelly as his failed attempts. After that, SpongeBob sits down on the ground and begins to cry. Suddenly the monsters surrounded him. He immediately stops crying and looks up in horror. They begin to rip him apart and devour him in a very graphically. As Patrick's laughing could be heard, only demonic and distorting. The screen then gets blurry, and as this was happening, it abruptly cuts to SpongeBob, trying to get a bus with the window attendant. He cruelly tells SpongeBob to get lost and puts the close sign. After this, it gets really dark. Not like in the final, but extremely dark to the point where I can't even see SpongeBob. SpongeBob then hears raspberry noises and starts to run away. He continues running until he runs into a wall and says, sitting, bleeding. The fish with the red light on the head cones, and the red light being bright, really bright. He had bloodshot eyes and sharp teeth as well. SpongeBob lets out a blood-curdling scream, which loops over until the screen blurs again, and cuts abruptly to black. There were no credits at all. It just ended there. I was dumbfounded and shocked by what I saw. I planned to upload it to YouTube to show other people, but I lost the DVD. One question that still lingers in my mind about the whole thing is, why would Nickelodeon make this? Well, my pretties, that was SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom original version. A SpongeBob creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story. I kind of remember the Shadow Reader read this story back, I believe, on his old channel in 2018 or maybe 2017. I can't remember when he exactly, read it, but he read it around that time. I did see a few narrations of this. Like, I remember Andal narrated this like a couple years back. So I thought, you know what? I would just go ahead and, read this as, the story was okay, but it wasn't really that great. Mainly because I think, to be fair and honest, It's probably because of the whole fact that, it was cliched, a bit cliched, with hyperrealistic blood, hyperrealistic eyes. I mean, just, I get it's an alternative episode, but I think the main issue I would have to say is that, there's a flea market cliche where you go to a flea market and you get a DVD that's only $5 or something. I mean, it honestly, I don't know when this was made, but it must have been made around the time where creepypasta cliches become so overused. I mean, that's actually one of the reasons why I honestly was holding out off on reading this story because of it. I really don't understand what was going on with, the whole thing. But I mean, this story honestly just doesn't make any sense, like with the cliches and that. So I'm being completely fair, and I'm going to be brutally honest when I say this. This story, honestly, it's just not that great, in my opinion. There's just too much I can describe that, there's just cliches that really just don't really make that great. If you understand where I'm coming from, this story honestly just, I don't know, actually. It just goes from 1 to 100. And I think that's the main issue with this. But like I said, I mean, who's really to say? So, yeah. I'm going to be sitting here and saying this right now. But like I'm going to sit here and say is that this honestly was just I think it's just a more of a confusing story. I mean, the grammar is okay. I mean, it's not that great, but it was okay. I'm going to be saying right now that this story honestly just, I guess it's just cliched, but maybe this was an older story. I don't know. This story, I have not listened to this since Shadow Reader's old channel when it got taken down back in 2019. But, I remember hearing this from Shadow's old channel, his narration. And I do remember watching Andal when he narrated this as well. So I really gotta say, this story definitely, it's not terrible, but not great either. That, I honestly could say, is something I want to say. But, I mean, to the author of the story, if you somehow come across this channel, let me know who you are, and I'll be sure to, give you proper credit in the comments below. So, I just want to say that. Now, anyways, that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm gonna give this story I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because while it seems interesting and it does have an interesting concept, but the fact is that it's just cliched. I mean, I don't know when this story was actually made, but it's just cliched for one, and two, it honestly just, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense at times, and I mean, it's not the best story that I've heard in the world, but it's definitely not a terrible story I've heard in the world. So, yeah. Anyways, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better, feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're new to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out. And I'll be seeing you all in the next video.